Hey everybody, I'm Beaver, aka The Terrible Australian at supermarcy.com, and welcome to my video review of Guillermo del Toro's brand new film Crimson Peak. So let's get right into it. Now, pretty much like everyone out there, I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro's work. Maybe not as much as other people out there, but I do really like the guy's films. He's sort of like his Spanish work, like Kronos, The Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth are fantastic films. And I really also like his Hollywood work as well, like Blade 2, the Hellboy films, and I'm kind of mixed on his previous film, Pacific Rim. I loved it the first time I watched it, but the more times I see it, I just realized just how dumb that film really was. I mean, it's still fun on, giant robots beating the crap out of giant monsters. It still delivers on that, but everything else about that kind of is very flawed, to say the least. But so in that regards, I was still very much looking forward to checking out his latest film, Crimson Peak, which is kind of sort of a combination of sort of gothic romance and period film and haunted house horror. And so in that regard, it definitely seemed like a film that was right up my alley for sure. So, and also from what I hear, it's definitely, this one from Del Toro's own words, that this one would be sort of more in the vein of his Spanish work. So that made me even more excited to check this out. So, what did I think of Crimson Peak? I have to say, I really like this. This is definitely, I would say, Guillermo's best film since Pan's Labyrinth. Not to say Hellboy 2 is a bad film or anything. It's a really enjoyable film, but in terms of but I did have couple little issues with it. But to me, this one, Crimson Peak, definitely is worked on so many levels. At least for me, anyway, as a big fan of his work. I think I don't think it's a scary film whatsoever. I wasn't creeped out or scared or anything like that, but it's still definitely a very riveting film and very compelling one as well. And throughout the entire running time, I just soaked up the atmosphere and the creep and the eeriness of the story, and also the performances, and also kind of seeing where the story was going to go as well. Like a couple of sort of reveals and stuff like that sort of happened during the course of the film, I sort of picked up pretty quickly. But that at the same time, it didn't ruin the experience for me at all. I still found it a very compelling experience as a viewer. And I mean, pretty much all the hallmarks of Del Toro's work is here. I mean, the production design is just fantastic. It just looks, it's spectacular. This is a beautiful looking film. And the cinematography is amazing. The score is beautiful. And it's a very well-written script by Del Toro and his co-writer Matthew Robbins, and it's just beautifully directed as well. And also I really like the sort of the darkness of it as well. I mean, it sort of had some really shocking moments in terms of violence, and that when it happens, it's shocking, but it has a bit of an impact to it as well. So it kind of, and also like the sort of the slow build-up of the story, and also, the performances are really good as well. Like, everyone does a pretty good job in this film. Wasikowska is really good in the lead. Tom Hiddleston has a very complex role. And Jessica Chastain is just phenomenal as always. She just relishes playing this type of, the role that she's playing in this film. She's just spectacular. But everyone's pretty good at it. The only kind of weak link I can think of is probably Charlie Hunnam, and I don't think it's really his fault. I just think he just was given kind of the least interesting character of the whole film. Like, he did fine with what he's given, but I kind of wish there was a bit more to do with that role. But also, I really liked the sort of how the design of the ghosts in the film, and I was actually pretty surprised when I found out that for most part the ghosts, which I assumed were CGI, were all people in makeup and with a bit of CGI enhancements, which really astounded me. And I just figured this is just a really good film. I really enjoyed this one a lot. In terms of sort of negatives, I don't really have too much in terms of that, but I guess the main thing is like I said, a lot of the reveals are kind of predictable. I mean, it wasn't that hard for me to figure out where the story was going to go, and also even structurally, the film kind of is very it kind of sort of follows the kind of same type of story structure as The Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth. And if you've seen those movies, you know what to expect, at least in terms of structure when it comes to this film, because it kind of follows the exact same kind of patterns and story directions and stuff like that. And I guess in a way that's kind of deliberate, because in a way you could kind of see The Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth, and this film as kind of being companion pieces in a way. But I kind of wish the film had at least, even though I don't mind it kind of following a similar story structure than those two films, I kind of wish the film had, you know, something to it that kind of made it stand out a little bit more in terms of where it went with its story. Because like I said, it has a bit of a predictable elements to it, and it kind of is structurally too similar to some of Del Toro's previous work. But but overall, I still really like this film a lot. I think it's a really well-made gothic horror romance. I think it's just and I just really enjoyed it a lot, and I think it's a great time at the cinema, I would say. So if I had to give Crimson Peak a rating, I give it 4 stars. It's definitely a great little film from Del Toro, and definitely kind of is a step up after Pacific Rim. Like, I know they're two completely different films and whatnot, but I kind of feel like with Pacific Rim, not to go on a bit on a tangent of that, I kind of wish Del Toro, even though, yes, it's a giant robots versus giant monsters movie, I kind of wish Del Toro did a bit more with that in terms of story and character and whatnot. But he definitely delivered that in spades with this film, so I'm really happy about that. So I really look forward to seeing Crimson Peak again, because I have a feeling like I was kind of going back and forth with my rating, like is it a 4 or maybe a 4.5? So I decided to settle on 4, like I said, because some of the sort of little flaws I had with it kind of dialed it down a bit. But I'll see how I feel about it on the second watch, because it could easily go up higher again. So, yep. So, but overall, at the moment, 4 stars. So, yep, that's the end of my video review of Crimson Peak. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you all later. See you, everyone.